أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة المتقين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته to all our brothers and sisters. Welcome to our Ramadan update for Masjid Al-Wali Ramadan 2021. So I have with me my beloved brother Rashid Khan, who is the Amir for the Ramadan committee, who's taking the lead on this. There are a group of brothers and sisters who are responsible for the Ramadan, and they have come up with many different things as regards to what we will be doing. So, Brother Rashid, welcome to our Ramadan updates.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair. It is my pleasure to be part of the committee, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. So how was your day? How have you been doing? Okay?
Alhamdulillah, busy day, fortunately. So if it is a busy day, I call it fortunate enough.
Alhamdulillah.
So alhamdulillah, all good.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So, Brother Rashid, as we spoke before, as regards, our community are listening, and for those who are not listening live, they will have the opportunity to go back and listen to the program, because we really want to set the tone today. Ramadan is right around the corner, right? There is a great possibility. Again, I'm not saying it is, but it's a great possibility that Monday will possibly be the first Taraweeh, and fasting will be Tuesday, depending on the sighting and also the Hilal for Central Jersey that the Masjid Wali follows. So since Ramadan is around the corner, and this is a COVID Ramadan, right? So this is the idea why we have gone into details of figuring out how we can able to implement a safe and secure Ramadan. Last year, lots of our brothers and sisters, in fact, we actually closed last year. So a lot of people say they're fasting and their salah at home, and people are looking forward, Brother Rashid, to come to the masjid. Let us talk a little about a few minutes as regards to the protocols of this COVID-19 Ramadan.
Right. Jazakallah. As Ustad Nazmul Sahib, you mentioned, this is a different Ramadan. If you compare it to last year, I think almost all the masajids were closed by the order of the governor. So there was no way that we could have opened the doors for the people to come in and pray inside the masjid. There was only very little activity in the masjid. All the programs were cancelled. So inshallah, this will be our first Ramadan, and that is also under COVID pandemic. So that is not over yet. And that's why the committee really thought deep about what kind of procedures we need to follow during the month of Ramadan. So all the volunteers, the members and all, they have to adapt to all those changes. Similarly, all the musallis who are going to come into the masjid, they also need to be cognizant of this fact that we are going through this pandemic, and they also need to make changes compared to the previous years that they have been used to. So I think first and foremost, alhamdulillah, in our masjid, we have been very, very careful, and all the musallis, they have been very careful as well. So it's the community effort, not just the effort of the masjid volunteers and organizers, but the volunteers as well. They have been following the protocols that the masjid has been advising them. So I'm thankful personally, and I'm pretty sure the masjid administration will be thankful to all the members of the community for following all these protocols. Said that, we need to continue to do that. The one change that might have happened now is many of the musallis may have got vaccinated already, and they may feel more comfortable coming into the masjid. But we need to be careful about having some false sense of security and safety, because scientists are still not sure how it is going to affect the people who already got vaccinated. We have heard about many cases where people who got vaccinated, they still got COVID-19. So it is in the interest of their own safety and the interest of the other musallis and the volunteers that we exercise due caution. And that caution, as we know about the regular prayers, is maintain the distance. So, inshallah, during Ramadan, in all the salah, we are going to maintain the same distance that we have been maintaining all along, which has proved to be consistent, which has proved to be successful. So, we inshallah, want to continue the same model, which has worked well for us.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Brother Raj, I think you have, I want just to reiterate the point that you made about our Musalli and the people who come to the masjid,
right,
uh, to give a big shout out to them for
right,
complying with the regulation. Alhamdulillah, I can say Masjid Al-Wali, we have had been able to execute a very safe COVID period. Where we didn't had what we call any serious catastrophe as regards to death and stuff in the community. But alhamdulillah, that's in the hands of Allah. But at the same time, we have taken certain precaution, and I think those precautions really worked out very well to us. I want to give a big shout out to all our musallis.
absolutely. And the discretion tells us that if something is working, we should continue to do that.
Yeah.
So that's why we, inshallah, during the month of Ramadan, we will continue to do that. Now, if you break the prayers, we have 5 times, when musallis come into the masjid. So we look at Fajr, we look at Zohar, we look at Asr. Those are the times when, we do not get so many musallis coming into the masjid. So I think those will be fairly straightforward in terms of implementation and all. Now, when it comes to Maghrib and Isha and Taraweeh, that's the time the volunteers need to be very, very active, and they need to implement a plan. And inshallah, if you want to talk about how we are going to address the Maghrib and Taraweeh, inshallah, we can continue doing that.
Yes, absolutely. So, as you know, we have mentioned before that we really want the people to come and have the experience of Ramadan again at the masjid. I don't think we can afford to stay home again this year. So we really want to give the taste again back to the masjid in Ramadan. And this is the reason why we are having this update. So with the regular Salah, Brother Rashid, with the Fajr, Dhuhr, As, and Maghrib, and all these daily prayers, everything would remain the same?
Right. Right. Inshallah. Yes.
Okay. So the social distancing, we're talking about social distancing, bringing your prayer mat,
Correct.
come with wudu.
Correct.
If it only really necessary due to what you call emergency, we can able to give access to wudu, but people should try to come with wudu to the masjid.
Right.
Just before we get into the prayers, Brother Rashid, let's just talk about what we are doing with the QR code that will be supplying with our musallis. Can you just touch on that quickly?
Right. So, inshallah, volunteers are working to provide QR codes printed out, and in terms of a badge, basically give it to the musallis, because the masjid has been doing that. They have provided through email, through phone messages and all QR code. And at times, people misplace those, and it's difficult to find at the time, when they are trying to enter the masjid. So, inshallah, the plan is to register people for Taraweeh and issue them the QR code in a badge form. So this way they can bring it every day with them. It will help them, musallis, to get into the masjid to do the check-in faster rather than, staying in a line, staying close to each other. It is going to help the volunteers as well as the musallis. So it is in the interest of everybody to bring it every day, inshallah.
So the purpose of the QR code is to get the line to move very swiftly, and also to make it easy on our volunteers who are volunteering their time. Alhamdulillah, we have had this volunteer meeting Sunday. We had over 80 to 90, close to 90 attendees who volunteered the time to assist to get this Ramadan a very smooth Ramadan. So that QR code, inshallah, I was told that we will start distributing this on Friday after Jumu'ah, inshallah.
That's wonderful, mashallah.
Okay, so Brother Rashid, let's get now into Taraweeh. How are we going to do the Taraweeh? And different from previous times at Masjid Al-Wali?
Right. And that's a very important question. And I think all of us, all the musallis, all the administration, volunteers, and all, we need to understand what we are doing and why we are doing it. First of all, in terms of Raqqa, it has been decided by the administration that we are going to limit the exposure to the minimum. And to be able to do that, inshallah, we will hold 8 Raqqa Taraweeh this year in the masjid, which will basically fulfill the need of the Taraweeh. And inshallah, we will try to complete Isha as well as Taraweeh in 45 minutes. That's the target. Why 45 minutes? I mean, did we pull it out of our sleeves or something? But it seems like more logical that, while we are trying to maintain the distance and all, the longer we go in the masjid, there is a lot of movement, associated with the time we spend in masjid. And the more the movement there is, there are higher chances of people, might be passing on something to other people. So we are trying to limit the exposure. So inshallah, that's the plan, that, complete 8 Taraweeh and Isha within 45 minutes. And inshallah, after that, people can swiftly leave the masjid, go home, and they can continue to pray at home also. And if they want to continue 20, make it 20, they can complete remaining 12 at home and make it 20 count for them, if that satisfies them.
Alhamdulillah. So this is the thing, is that we're trying to accommodate everyone here, and there is a question that probably we will talk about, Brother Rashid. You
Yeah.
could see the question, right? Someone is asking how we would able to accommodate a large crowd at Maghrib, Isha, and Taraweeh inside the masjid, keeping in view the guidelines and protocols for social distancing. Are there maximum capacity for QR codes?
Yes, there will be, because we are maintaining social distancing, and because of that, we'll have to have a cap on the number of people that we can have in the masjid. As far as Maghrib is concerned, usually we have seen in the past, it is usually not a problem. Um, so one thing that we are doing is we are not doing any iftar, or we are not doing any food in the masjid. So we are also asking community not to bring any food in the masjid. So when there is no food, basically masjid will, what they will try to do is pass on, inshallah, dates and water during the time of iftar. So people can, they break their fast and they can pray Maghrib, and then they can go home,
Sure.
because there is no food, there is no iftar even during the week or during the weekend. So I think they, in my view, and I think in everybody's view, there should not be a congestion during the iftar time, during Maghrib time.
Yeah.
The other thing that, excuse me, we are doing is, we are, and with request to our sisters also, we touched base with a few sisters to understand, what their thinking is. So based on feedback from them also, what we have decided is also to make the whole floor, ground floor, available to brothers. So the sisters area and the multi-purpose area behind it, it will all be connected to masjid, inshallah. And we can have prayer area in the main hall, we can have prayer area in the library. The whole idea is, while we are maintaining the distancing and all, we try to accommodate as many people as we can within the guidelines that we have set. Now, as far as the sisters are concerned, we have dedicated the entire second floor to the sisters area, and inshallah there will be a separate entrance for them, so there is no congestion. Brothers and sisters, they are not really going through the same entrance and all. So this way there will be completely separate entrance from the side for the sisters, and there will be sisters volunteers who will be helping them checking in, and they will go directly to the second floor, and inshallah there will be good arrangements for them over there. So this way, we seek the cooperation of the community, of the community, both the sisters and brothers, to work with the volunteers. If you want to help, let them know that you can help, but try to be cooperative with them. even if there is something that you don't like, I would request that, for the sake of brotherhood, for the sake of Ramadan, and for the sake of community, let it pass, and be more helpful to the community and the volunteers, inshallah.
Okay, that's a very good explanation, Brother Rashid. Also, we want to emphasize that we would not be accepting any kids below 12 years old. We have to be very strict with that,
Right.
for their safety and for the safety of others. All right.
Right, absolutely. And also, as far as the seniors are concerned, we really strongly encourage them. Anybody who is above 65, we encourage them to pray at home because they are more vulnerable. This is for their own interest that we are recommending this, inshallah.
All we can do, we could recommend. We would not be
Right.
able to hold them to that, but we're just recommending that, inshallah.
Inshallah, for their own safety, inshallah.
Yes. The other thing also, that if weather permits, right? If the weather
Mhm.
good, um, I know April is you get April showers, right? But
Right.
if the weather is good, inshallah, we will also use the outside, both sides of the masjid, on the lawns, and also on the parking lot part area.
Yes, inshallah, we can open that up. Then, if the weather is good and if it is not raining, then of course, but if it is not raining, then it becomes an issue. But if the weather is good, we can surely accommodate that. The only thing is, maybe you would like to explain it to them how this is going to work, because one of the things that we have to be mindful of is the neighborhood, right? If we open up the windows and the speaker sound goes out to them when we are praying late at night, it is not going to be a good gesture towards the community, towards the neighborhood.
Yes.
So how, when they are praying outside, how they are going to manage that, if you can please explain that.
So if we are going to pray outside, we are hoping that we can. I know there are some questions coming up as to the hall, and which we didn't want to get into, but I guess our hands are forced. The whole idea, Brother Rashid, we spoke
Mhm.
about, is that we will try to conduct all um, Taraweeh at 10 Olsen, where the masjid is.
Right.
If the weather good, and the weather permit, we'll pray outside and everything and have it at 10. However, as one of the brothers is asking here about the hall, we leave that for the last resort. We don't want to explore that at this point in time. That will be a bonus, basically, if that should happen. And we really want to the logistics, really, to operate two places. It's very challenging. But
Right.
again, we are there to make life easy for everybody. So the hall is a last resort. We are not going to explore that yet until if it really, really come to a point that we have to. Isn't that so?
Yes, absolutely. I think the logistics will be very, very challenging doing it in two places. So, I mean, as a backup, yes. As a last resort, yes. And again, I think we will learn as we move along. First couple of days, we'll have to see how it is going, and we'll have to, try to make adjustments
Yes.
as we go along.
The thing is that, are we going to make mistake? Yes. Are we learning from this
Yes,
experience? Yes, we are all learning. I mean, we are
absolutely.
not we are not really skill in planning in COVID-19. This is the first time. So
Right,
we will make mistakes. We will learn from our mistakes. And I think people need to understand this and have patience with the brothers and sisters who are helping to execute this. We will learn through our mistakes. We will, when Ramadan starts, Taraweeh starts, we would learn from the crowd, and from the first day to the second day, every day will be a new experience. And so I really implore our musallis really to be very patient, and to be very cognizant about the fact that the brothers and sisters who are planning this COVID Ramadan, they are not experts in COVID planning
right,
of coming to the masjid. So I'm
right.
just imploring that they should really have patience with everyone.
Right, Jazakallah. And one other thing I will mention is during the Taraweeh, when we have more people coming in, what we have seen in the past, people would bring their own food, they will share it with musallis and all, and mashallah, that's a very kind gesture, and it goes well. But I think in these circumstances, I would really, really request all the community members not to bring any food to masjid, because people, if they are dipping in and all, who knows what is going on. So I think it is better to avoid it, inshallah. I know it's difficult to swallow, but we all like to share our food with our companions, with our musallis and all. But I think this is one year where
Yeah.
we can try to restrain ourselves, inshallah.
Thank you for raising that very important, Brother Rashid. I know, I mean, we all know the value of sharing your iftar with
Right,
your neighbors and your brothers and sisters. You have the reward of their fasting without depleting your reward. We all know of that. But I think we have to be very, at the same time, be very practical about what's happening right now. And we are not out of the woods as yet. We are still, and again,
right,
authorities are predicting a fourth wave. Allah forbid something should happen to somebody in the masjid or they got sick, it means there might be a great possibility that we may have to close down for Ramadan. Halfway somewhere along the line, because we do not want to put people at jeopardy. So the whole idea of taking all these strict measures is that we can have the masjid for the full Ramadan. And I think our brothers and sisters would have to help us really to do so, because we all want to experience this Ramadan at the masjid.
right. Absolutely. MashaAllah, we all believe in Qadr, right? But Allah also teaches us that we also have to take our own precautions while we still believe in the Qadr of Allah.
Yeah.
So we all do that, inshallah.
Uh, just one thing, I think the food that the point that you raised, I just want to go back to that. So there will be no food, and the idea was to be safe, because if people start putting their fingers and everybody
Right,
in their fingers and pull, there is a great possibility that can be cross contamination, and
right.
contamination can cause infection, and this is what the whole idea that we're trying to avoid.
Absolutely. And the kind of food people bring in, that's amazing. It's too tempting. If I'm there, I would like to pick up something and eat it, right? It's so tempting.
Yeah.
So, inshallah, we just want to avoid this temptation.
I see Brother Imran Zia put on some information there. I think that's a very good idea, Brother Imran. Can we print some flyer with some bullet points on the important guidelines and distributed Friday prayers? I think this is in the making, inshallah. We should have this by coming Jumu'ah, inshallah.
Right, right,
Okay, Brother Rashid, let's. Masjid Wali has been known for having 40, 50 people for itikaf. What
right,
what is the itikaf plan this year? I know people from all over come to Masjid Al-Wali for itikaf, from
right,
Jersey City, from South Jersey. I think they sometimes host some close to 50 people for itikaf
correct.
on a regular Ramadan. What is the plan for itikaf this year? Are there any itikaf?
Um, I mean, that's a very important thing. And at the CAF is very, very important for the community as well. Um, we checked with several masajids. The responses that we received from some masajids, I don't want to name each and every masjid here, um, they are not holding i'tikaf. But um, Masjid Al-Wali has decided to hold i'tikaf this year. Why? To fulfill the need of the community, to fulfill the commitment of the community. Because even if one person, keeps i'tikaf, the need or the commitment of the community is fulfilled. So inshallah, that's the motivation. So the motivation is not to, fill the masjid with more takif, but to have that commitment fulfilled. To be able to do that, but i'tikaf is a very, very challenging task. And the reason that, if people are staying there for all 10 nights in the last 10 days, then there are musallis who are coming in and going out. So there is an exposure, there is a continuous exposure to the people who are staying in the masjid, and to others also as they are coming in and going out. So what we are trying to do is fulfill this need, responsibility. So that's why we are keeping a cap this year. We will allow, inshallah, 5 people to perform etikaf in the masjid. Now, um, when we say 5 people, then the first question that comes to my mind is,
Which
how
part?
will you pick those people, right? It's very challenging. Many people want to be there. So few things, that's why we are keeping in mind. First of all, we want to limit it to the immediate community who usually visits the masjid. So if there are people who want to come, like we have seen in the past years, somebody is coming from South Brunswick, somebody from New York, Jersey City, Newark, and all, it will be very difficult, almost impossible for us to accommodate that. Since we are fulfilling the need of the community, we want to restrict it to the neighboring community only. Um, Secondly, we want only those people who are fully vaccinated. Those people will be allowed, or they will be eligible for itikaf, I should say.
Yeah.
Third, is although they may still be vaccinated, fully vaccinated, we want them to get a negative test 48 hours before the start of the itikaf, and provide us that receipt. Then, inshallah, while they are doing itikaf, in the middle of itikaf, we will perform another test. And for that test, they won't have to go out. MashaAllah, we have so many doctors in our masjid. The test will be conducted within the masjid, and then we will get the report, and inshallah, we'll provide it to them. So those will be the limitations. And again, like for the salah, we are saying children under 12 not allowed. So for etikaf, we will have the range of 20 years to 65 years range. Um, so that's the range that we are going to go with, and inshallah, with those limitations. Now, those who qualify, those who are eligible, and they fit the criteria, then we will, inshallah, we will have a draw. We will draw their names. It's not a lucky draw. It's just a draw to find out who is the person who can perform at the cup. So
Yeah.
if we get 10 people, then we'll have to pick 5 names, and we will inshallah make it very transparent. We will do it in one of the
Zoom.
Friday prayers, and we will do it in front of public, in front of the whole community, so that nobody can later on think about oh, something wrong happened here. So we want to make it clear, we make it transparent, and inshallah we follow the full guidelines.
Thank you very much, Brother Rashid. We have a few minutes more. Can we just talk about the parking and the security? I mean, how are we handling that?
Right. So, Alhamdulillah, like in previous years, we will inshallah have a crop throughout the month, and especially on weekends, we will have here. And then we will also have security guard coming here, especially on weekends. So, Taraweeh, so I'm talking about Taraweeh and weekends and weekdays, because that's the time. And inshallah, our volunteers will also be there to direct the traffic. Um, since we are going to allow the musallis outside during the Taraweeh when it is not raining and all, so we'll have to block that area for parking. But other parking areas, in Nine Olsen, in the back of Nine Olsen and all those areas will be available for parking, inshallah. And the security guard, their purpose is basically to keep an eye on people, just to see, just to make sure everything is safe, and they do not see any suspicious person, coming into the masjid.
Thank you very much. And also, Brother Rashid, our volunteers will be issued official badges from the masjid,
Yes,
so everyone would know who are volunteers, right?
right. Yes, absolutely. And that's the idea. The purpose is that, if people are, we try to help each other out usually, when we are in a crowd. But if it is not a volunteer who's wearing a badge and, they are giving you directions and all, those directions may or may not be correct. And that's why I would strongly suggest that if you have a question or you need some directions, uh, ask one of the volunteers, and they are the best people to direct you and give you the right information.
There will also be an information table by the lobby area for those who need information. They can go there and have
Yes,
information also. I want
yes,
to, since we're talking about security and parking, Brother Rashid, I just want you to emphasize, because this is a problem that we have a lot of times in many different communities, not
right,
only in Masjid Al-Wali, where we park where we're not supposed to be parking. And
Correct.
I think being part of good Muslim, we need to show that adab and that good mannerism to our neighbors and people, that
Right.
we should park legally. We should not block people in. I feel that, okay, I can rush to salah, I'm going to pray, and I can just block someone. I think we need to be very cognizant about this fact.
Absolutely. I think, first of all, we have to see why we are going to masjid. We are going to masjid to perform an obligation, and we are going to present ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we go in there and we park incorrectly, um, there is something distorted somewhere. And when we present ourselves in front of our Lord, what position are we in? Can we say that I was able to help somebody before I came into the masjid, or did I create an obstacle for another fellow Muslim or a neighbor? MashaAllah, the same people, when we go, all of us, including me, when we go to a mall, to any public place, we we know how to park our cars. We park right between the two lanes, and we never double park and all. So it's not that we don't know. It's just that in masjid we become a little bit more comfortable when we are among our own community. We become a little bit more comfortable. So I'm not trying to put blame on anybody. What I'm saying is, it's a general a tendency among the people that when you are among your own people, you tend to be more comfortable. But inshallah, we need to take care of the comfort of others, not just our own,
Yeah.
right? So think about the comfort of others, and you will get reward for it. If you have to park a little bit away because it will be easier for other fellow Muslims, mashallah, your reward will be multiplied. So look at it this way. This is the approach I would suggest for people and for myself, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khair, Brother Rashid. I think we have covered all of these very salient points, the very important points. Again, if there is any one of the brothers and sisters who would like to volunteer, please, when you go to the masjid, see one of the volunteer with the badges, because we need a lot of help. We need a lot of support from the community. And because we have different salah. And in the last 10 nights also, we'll be having Qiyam. So, Brother Rashid.
Yes, I was
So,
about to mention that. Yes,
okay, go
I'm
ahead.
glad you mentioned. No, that's good.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, no, inshallah, in the last 10 nights, we will have Qiyam as well. And so I think that because, the virtues of that are
And
too great.
that will
So
be
we don't want to miss out on that.
that will be approximately an hour and a half before suhoor ends, right? In the morning.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, inshallah.
So again, look, we would have to have volunteers even at that time, because everybody that comes in the masjid are being their temperature is being
Right,
tested. I mean, we test the
right,
temperature, and we record a QR code for the purpose of tracing. And so
right.
it takes a lot of time. And so I hope, inshallah, that we can have some more volunteers that can be added to the list, that can make the job very easy for all of us.
Absolutely. And inshallah, another request to the community is, if somebody is under the weather, then it is always advisable, and it is better, and it is more rewarding, that if that person stays home, because that person is staying home not for the sake of himself or herself only, but for the sake of other people. And
Yeah.
that's a great reward, inshallah. So keep that in mind. If you are staying home because you are under the weather, you are getting the reward for it, inshallah.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll be having that reward as if you're praying in the Jama'ah at the masjid, because
Exactly.
your intention was to be at the masjid, but because of your that that temperature or that fever, you don't tell yourself, well, I'm going to the house of Allah, Allah will take care of me. You don't want to spread what you have. And also, when we coughing, I think we have to be very cognizant about the way we cough, although we are social distancing and we know the protocol. You take your hands and
Right.
cough inside and trap it, rather than be coughing all the time. All of these things we have to be very, very cognizant of.
Exactly.
I think we have covered most of it, Brother Ash. The other thing that I want to, before we close, is that inshallah, there is a Ramadan webinar on Friday, inshallah, at 8 o'clock. We will be talking, getting ourselves prepared, or in the mindset of getting into Ramadan, inshallah. So
Right.
Friday the 9th at 8 p.m., there will be a webinar. Sheikh Walid Al-Batrawish Ustada Sumara Khan and Dr. Susie Ismail and myself will be live discussing, Ramadan prep and how we can get into Ramadan, inshallah. And also, we will be having a daily Ramadan reminder, like last year, because we would not be doing a lot of reminder in the masjid itself because we don't want to keep people too long. The maximum, maybe we can just give an advice or two, which will be 3 to 5 minutes of advice. But generally, all our education and nasiha and khatira will be online virtually. So we will be having also a daily reminder, and it will start 7 o'clock, which is, in the first part of Ramadan, it will be like half an hour before iftar, where people gather their family together, and that will be just only for 15 minutes. So we'll be having a daily reminder with different shuyukh coming on, inshallah, and giving us some daily Ramadan gems also.
MashaAllah, very good.
Do you have any final word, Brother Rashid, before we close?
Yes, I just thought of it actually. The best way to avoid a calamity and all is also, to give sadaqah, right? And what is a better month than the month of Ramadan to give sadaqah, to give donation? And you know that, Masjid is a non-profit organization. It works because of the donations of the community members. So try to give as much as you can during the month of Ramadan, and sadaqah also, for the sake of your family, for the sake of your children and all, to keep this pandemic away from all of us, inshallah ta'ala. And especially the last 10 nights, what I, my personal point of view, try to do, even if it is little, try to be more consistent in donations. Maybe, something every night, a small amount, or especially in the last 10 nights, give something every night. So this way, you will, inshallah, find Laylatul Qadr. There is no doubt about it, because it is, as narrated by our Prophet, it is in the last 10 nights. So you will find it if you do it, even if it is a small, every night. So try to make it a habit during the month of Ramadan. So inshallah, you will get great reward, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khair for that timely reminder, Brother Rashid. Thank you so much for coming on with me on this program. I really appreciate you taking time to come for us to discuss this protocols.
It's my honor, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khair. And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us that we can execute a beautiful and safe Ramadan, a rewarding Ramadan, a Ramadan that we can, make a difference with ourselves and our akhirah. Until, inshallah, we reach again on Friday, inshallah, we'll be reaching again. Jazakumullah khair to all our viewers, and looking forward to see you and to keep your company, inshallah, in Ramadan. Thank you, Brother Rashid. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.